Speaking of Boots, um, as much as we're joking around, and I wanted to go and was supposed to be there with you. Boots Ennis, Roiman Villa, tough guy, couple good wins. Um, had one loss, close fight, decision. So
Never been stopped.
never been dropped or stopped.
Never
Sturdy
been.
chin. Um, look, I said I thought that Boots was gonna stop him in the ninth or tenth. I don't. I said
What was
that
my pick? That was going to go distance.
no.
No, did I pick a stoppage? I
I
said
think
like,
I think you said like six.
okay.
Um, but but I stressed that he's got to look good. Not for you and I, because you and I already know he's the goods. I I'd be hard pressed to think of a better performance, B. Switching stances seamlessly, a multitude of shots, offensive display. Look, Villa's coming
I feel
forward,
like we didn't
throwing.
give this the proper introduction. I feel like we need to talk about the great Jarron Boots Ennis. That's what I from the fighting city of Philadelphia, because this was as good a homecoming. Because I'm going to call it what it is. Atlantic City is home for you guys in terms of boxing. It's close
Absolutely,
enough.
absolutely.
I was there. Place was packed out with Philly heads,
Yeah.
Philly mouth everywhere.
What was
John,
your text to
John
me? Does everyone in Philly have a beard? Was that your
no,
text?
are people in Philly born with
Born
beards?
with beards.
It is. I am ignorant to certain things in other cities, but if you guys have ever seen how Danny Garcia dresses when he's not in the ring, every Latino male dresses. I mean, it was like if like you ever remember that Eminem video where there was like 8 million
Yes,
Eminems.
yes, yes,
They
yes.
could have recreated that with 8 million Danny Garcias. I was fucking
It's
crying.
I wish I was able to say that you were besmirching the good
I'm
name of the city,
again.
but I can't.
I am not doing this to defame or besmirch your city.
I
Um, I just
I have nothing.
when you're not from somewhere and you go to to that place and you see different trends in different places and then you see them all together at the same place. So it's the same, let's call it blue collar audience that goes to boxing. So this is all blue collar guys. I mean, these motherfuckers had on like legit the same costume. You know what I'm
I'm a
saying? Like,
big fan of you asking me, Vin, what is like the proper name for male Muslim garb? And I was like, you mean a thobe? And you're like, yeah, there's a guy with a polo one. I was like, oh, this is look, man,
that guy
this is what
rocked.
yes,
Yo, okay, so all
you
right,
were
let me
very
just tell you.
excited to see
Let me
that.
tell you, I
You were very happy
a
about that guy.
he had Tim's on too,
Of
so
course.
he had Tim's on, and okay, so the bathrooms at this, by the way, this was in the small room at Boardwalk Hall. So as it was explained to me originally, when you, me, and Billy talked about this fight, it was supposed to be at the Borgata. The Borgata's little theater thing there seats, I think, 1,000, and
Mm-hmm.
apparently they sold out. They sold 1,000 tickets right away, and then they sort of plateaued and had trouble selling enough to get into the big room, which they were going to do a truncated version of the big room, and then
Mm-hmm.
they just this is everything that was explained to me, and then it
Mm-hmm.
was decided let's just do the small room, and we'll definitely sell that out. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this on here, but you know what? I'm going to say it. The small room site fee is $25,000.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I heard that from a promoter on Saturday. They said they may have jacked up the price for a Showtime card, but I'll say this: this was not a big event at the Barclays Center. This was no ring card girls, no graphics for the audience, so there was no replay that we could see, and
Right.
only the undercard and co-feature had graphics of the fighters' names while they were.
Wow.
Yeah, so this was um, again.
Guys, if you haven't been there too, B was there. I've seen multiple fights there. I've seen great fights there. Sergio Martinez, Paul Williams won. Erislandy Lara, Paul Williams when they robbed Erislandy Lara. a bunch of the Super Six fights, it's probably like 2,500 people capped
That's it.
in
That's
there.
precisely what it is. 2,500
Yeah,
people. It's
a great place.
it's a high school basketball gym essentially with like the whole like stage, like
Yep. Yep.
it's got a stage. Again, this is I believe the first show under the Paramount banner. So Paramount owns Showtime now.
Correct.
Or they're whatever it is. Now is CBS still a partner with them or no?
I'm not sure because a lot of the uh sale of that Paramount Plus app
Uh-huh.
it is their acquiring of Showtime. Like now with Showtime. So
Right.
I don't
Okay.
know if CBS was
Sold
cut out of
Showtime.
that deal. Right, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I don't know.
So anyway, it's I'm looking it up now, guys. But anyway, so yeah, Paramount Media owns it. What sister channels is CBS still? So is CBS whatever. All right.
So
I'll
they
have to
still
look
have
this up
that.
later.
Yeah.
So this was I don't know if Vinny and I have been saying we thought Showtime boxing was going to go away. I think this is how we're going to see it from now on. I mean, even like from a production standpoint, the electrical cables weren't gaffered properly. Like I'm walking around, like everyone was tripping over wiring. I mean, it was
Did
just
you
it was a
did
weird.
you DVR it and watch it when you got home?
I have not. How did the lighting look? That's what I was just going to ask you from
Because
home.
I was going to say to you,
Did it look low budget?
not as low budget as the things you told me.
Okay.
Like I'm like, whoa, this sounds like a Blue Horizon show, Tuesday Night Fights
That's
in
what
'92.
That's what it felt like.
Did it look like that? No. Now,
Okay.
hold on. There's something to be said when one of your favorite fighters is fighting that you're really focused on the action
Right.
and a little bit less critical of
Production
value. Like if there was terrible production value, there wasn't. This was HBO, creme de la creme. But if there was terrible production value on any of the Ward Gottis, I wouldn't have noticed.
Right.
I'm jumping around on my couch like a stupid moron,
Right.
But if there's a chess match where you have time to sort of take it in, because there wasn't much to. I was watching Boots, and it was such a beautiful display that there wasn't much time. Of course, I watched the undercards.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this kid, man, because I thought, like, look, you gotta.
Hey, real quick. So, guys, just to clear everything up, Viacom CBS renamed itself as Paramount Global. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, Viacom is massive. So this is a massive conglomerate. And
it's just
B and I talking about Showtime boxing dying. Maybe they saved it for another 18 to 24 months. If they can put some stuff together and get some ratings.
This what an incredible for me to be there. A guy we've talked about. I love seeing guys before they become a household name. Let me just explain a few things to everybody out there that I saw there. One, Philly showed out. So if Boots fights on the East Coast, Philly's going to be there. They were there. I saw more JBE homemade T-shirts, Jarron Boots Ennis T-shirts. Then I saw DSG T-shirts at like fights when I've seen Danny Garcia fight like 7 times. So this was equivalent to like Danny fighting around the Amir Khan days, where Danny had a huge following.
After the Lucas Matisse win.
There was church groups there, old ladies there. Like I said, there was Muslims there, all cheering on the same guy who is a devout Christian.
Yeah.
Even though he's got the Philly beard, which is typically designated for Muslim folks, but I think it transcends now religion.
Well, again, that's what happens now, and that's what confuses outsiders. So like everybody,
all of you guys have beards. It's amazing. It really is. I was like, what is something with the bad water, 3 Mile Island water you guys have that makes you just so anyway, so
dare you.
I said this to you, and this is going to sound funny maybe to the fans at home. In terms of star power, Boots transcends boxing in that there was gangs of women there to see. He's a good-looking guy. Let's put it out there. Boots is a good-looking dude, handsome
Which
guy.
You go back historically,
great smile.
Sugar Ray Leonard,
Right.
then who came Oscar.
Oscar, right.
Yeah,
So
it's
if marketed right, there was women there. I don't think these women have ever watched a boxing match in their life. They were screaming for him.
as you know, that's how Arturo Gatti fights were on the East Coast for many
100%.
years.
Right. There's a lot of.
I mean, I seen him get mobbed at a Rocky Waters Guti Espadez fight. Like I seen Arturo Gatti get mobbed like on some matinee idol shit.
Right. So that's what this guy's a heartthrob too. So again, I've been saying it since we started the show, the crossover appeal is there. Why is there not a microphone in this guy's face at all times? Anyway, I hope that PBC doesn't drop the ball at this because it's good for boxing to have a guy like this.
There's lots, B, like you said, not just church groups, women, Muslims, good-looking kid, and then he's a good kid. Like to top that off, he's like a good kid who's close with his pop. And, and you and I hate those relationships because there's a dad who wants to be in front. And that's not the case here. And it's everybody loves him in Philly, bro. Like, my man Greg Hackett. Guys who don't know who Greg Hackett is, he's a trainer. He's going to be a sought-after trainer. I promise you that. He also is hilarious.
He's funny as shit, bro.
Hilarious.
There was real quick. There was old ladies on those rascals. Yeah, like, come on, baby, come on, Boots, come on, Boots, like that. And I was like, holy shit.
I think I'm going to drive around a rascal when we go at the next bout.
I was a little jealous. I wanted to rascal it up in that place.
I'm going to get one when we.
All right, bet.
Hey, before we talk about his performance, you and I spoke about something via text. I'm curious. I have to figure out how to say this because I don't know if you're supposed to say it about maybe fights coming to AC more. We cannot talk about that.
We cannot talk about that.
Okay. Just want to see how I said it though.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I didn't lay it on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'd like to see more stuff come to Philly with Boots. LaCourse is a great venue.
Okay. What's the capacity?
It's where Temple basketball plays.
Okay.
So for a fight, that's where I saw Gvozdyk Beterbiev. I saw J-Rock fight there. I actually went and saw. Remember when Dewan Wagner was supposed to be like the next motherfucker
before he got hurt? Yeah.
Well, he was in Memphis. Because he's from Camden.
He's from Camden. Yeah.
Yeah. I went to a lot of Temple. I'd say for boxing 8,000. I'd say
that's big.
That's big.
It's big. Steven Jackson was there cheering on Boots.
Steven Jackson did the undercards with my man Luke.
Okay, so they didn't let the knock him out the box guy into that part of press row. I was in the other part of press row.
Look, I hit my buddy Luke. I sent him a picture of you.
Did you?
And I made sure that you weren't being a rascal.
There was some.
I was misbehave.
I was being a good boy. To be honest with you, I was being a good boy.
Luke, look, let me explain.
Look, I wasn't in my town. Also, my wife and kids were up the block at the hotel. So the last thing my wife needed would be for me to get locked up in Atlantic City, and we can't go home the next day.
I sent the great Luke Thomas a picture of you and said, "Look out for this rascal."
Which picture did you send?
You know the one.
That's the one. So this Vinny clipped a picture of me from I don't know something, and Wilder, yeah, where I was tuned up. and he likes to send it to me. What'd you say? Twice a day?
Look,
What would you say? Twice a day? You send it to me?
look, I didn't take this picture. How did I
No,
get a hold of it?
you found it somehow. You have your ways. You have your ways. So anyway, so let's talk about the fight. I actually thought tactically, and again, what the fuck do I know? I'm not a fighter. I'm some guy that does a show with his buddy.
Yep.
That Boots was fighting a fight that wasn't smart the first 4 or 5 rounds. I said to myself, Villa now in the third round, I said he's coming on. Boots is staying in the pocket too long. There's no way he's going to be able to keep this pace up. This guy is. I tweeted, Roiman Villa is the Terminator. He just kept walking through everything.
Yep.
You know, I said this is what he does. This is what he. You know what I mean? This is what he does. And again, it was Margarito-esque. Just walking through the shots, through the shots.
Great analogy.
And for those of you who don't, if you're maybe a little new to the sport, Antonio Margarito later got in trouble for loading gloves. Anyway, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but I said, what is he doing? You know, this guy Villa is just a tough customer. And real quick about Villa, I stood next to Villa. They have him listed. They had him listed Showtime at 5'7". No fucking way. He's bigger than that.
Taller.
Taller. Yeah. And they have Boots listed at like 5'11", and I don't think he's 5'11". So I'd love to see a real.
It's the Iverson.
Yeah, I'd love to see a real.
From Georgetown, 6'1". I'm like, yo, this guy's like my height.
Right.
Iverson.
Real quick, not to go down. I stood next to him at Penn Relays in your city in 1997.
He was only here a year then.
And I was taken aback because I was a junior in high school, and someone's like, that's Iverson. You know what I mean? And I was like, where? And they're like, right there. And I was like, this dude's got to be 140 pounds.
Yeah.
And incredible. Anyway, so I thought from a tactical standpoint, Boots was playing right into Villa's game plan.
Absolutely.
Staying in front of him, staying in the pocket. Again, sometimes, and definitely when you don't get to see replay in between rounds, you miss some stuff. I was intently watching. I purposely didn't drink too much. I also had a huge meal. I was crushing waters, which were like $9, by the way.
It's hot in there too.
Yeah, it's hot as hell in there. Drinking water, watching intently, and maybe I was missing the effectiveness of the punching, but Villa starts to come on, and I said, this is making me a little nervous. And obviously, you guys saw the end result. Boots' pace never really changed. There were shots that were just missing, because I did see those replays, that from where we were sitting, it looked like he was getting hit. In particular, where he did like the robot. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. It's just made me laugh.
He hits him with like that straight shot and then the uppercut in slow-mo, and Villa fires back and Boots rolls with it. It doesn't touch him. From where we were sitting, it looked like he got hit. Like there was a ooh,
he got clipped by a couple right hands. All of that a result of what you said of going, what is this kid doing?
Right.
He's coming out standing with this guy who
right.
You're playing into the hand. Look, there's one way this guy can win, and you're fighting that way.
You're fighting that way. So I thought he was going to pick and peck, and maybe I thought there was a chance Boots was going to stink it out, and just get what matters here is getting the win, right? If I'm his trainer, I'm saying you just get the win here. All right. Don't worry about looking great. Don't worry about the knockout. Get the W. We move on. We get a bigger and better fight.
I felt differently and said so.
Right.
I felt like he needed to. I think they. This is the thing. It's like when there's guys that fight on the island or New York that even if you don't know them as a homie, you know people that do.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's sort of the same thing here. because I know people that are very close to him. You
Uh-huh.
know what I mean? And Greg is my buddy, Greg Hackett. I knew the energy, and it was like we got to do this guy dirty. That look, the kid, the Eastern European kid in the last fight had good feet. He kept moving.
Yeah.
He wasn't really exchanging. Is defensively responsible. There was certainly an energy of we gotta look. We gotta stamp our name.
Boots' jab from the orthodox or southpaw position is something that was really impressing me. And he would shoot like two real hard jabs, bap, bap, and then come back with a slower jab. He'd stab to the body. I mean, everything was where it should be in terms of accuracy, in terms of he didn't look tired. He was standing in between rounds.
Yep.
Dare I say, it reminded me, because I'm too young for it, but I have watched a ton of prime Ray Leonard. It reminded me of Ray Leonard if you mix in like Terrence Crawford. Like prime Ray Leonard was a mean son of a bitch, and I bring up the Terrence Crawford thing because of the switching of stances.
How about this? Go ahead.
Ray would stand in front of guys and bang them out, and that's what Boots did.
How ironic is it that I was going to say something about his nemesis, and that is the marvelous one, Marvin Hagler, and I was going to say the seamless transition in switching.
Yeah. That's a better point.
But it's
I was making the welterweight point.
If you
but yes,
you can get some guys. You can get a sense of what we're trying to say here. If you put a blender of a Ray Leonard and a Hagler, and guys, don't think we're calling him these guys. These guys are all-time greats.
Right.
Boots isn't there yet. We're just seeing certain things in him.
Well, he does have a showmanship quality too.
He does.
Which Hagler did it, kind of silently, but Ray did the bolo punching and stuff. You know what I mean? He did the Ali shuffle. Boots has that prime time again.
And like
he got
you
the
said
smile.
earlier, he had the heartthrob thing. That's another Ray Leonard thing. It was America embraced him in a time where, look, this wasn't 2023 where black athletes weren't really embraced by white Americans.
Right.
Ray was doing commercials.
Yeah.
Ray was American Idol.
I mean, I know
the Olympics.
Boxing's not what it was. It'll never regain that popularity.
Never will.
If someone can get their hands on this kid, I think he could sell somebody something.
Oh yeah, like a William Morris. I mean, if someone smart at William Morris is looking for athletes, you know, and wants to roll the dice, because it is a dice roll, because you're not talking about a basketball star, or a football star. This isn't Jalen Hurts. This isn't a New York Knick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if someone there has vision, like a younger kid, and says, "Let's roll the dice. Let's give this kid a deal." This kid could, he's got everything. But what a fighter!
Does.
What a fighter! He laid hands.
Honestly, I'm getting goosebumps.
Me too,
because that's what it's like. So I wound up
special, man.
Standing up. I had no one in front of me. I didn't need to, and he had me on my feet the whole time. And I'm trying to act like Captain Cool and collected, because I'm in press row. Yeah. But after the fourth round, where Villa did start to come on a bit, and it did look like maybe the tides would change, return, like Villa did, where he just starts to push. And to Villa's credit, he didn't stop pushing.
Tough kid, man.
I was on my feet. And let me ask you this, Vin. Did they mention did he knock Villa's teeth out at one point?
They didn't mention it. If he did,
something solid looking
went flying,
and it was the round before he stopped him. He did lose his mouthpiece.
They also didn't interview him, which struck me as weird.
I didn't go to post fight.
No, I mean, even in the ring, they'll always go, hey, he doesn't speak English, but they'll always go to the,
maybe, honestly, maybe they didn't spring for a translator. I'm actually not kidding, because there's
I'll tell you why though. Someone was translating in between rounds.
Oh, really?
Someone was there.
Or were
Someone
they
was
remote?
there.
They could have
It's
been remote.
possible. He could have
Yeah.
been in his crib, like me and
This
you
was
right now.
this was a
I
weird.
know. You told me, man. You told me. And one time I was there, and it was similar. And ironically, it was Showtime.
I'm curious though, if because they moved the venue less than a month ago, they just couldn't put it all together. I don't know. But
This is a fight where my cousin physically drugged Nacho Beristain because I was like, "Yo, that's like maybe my favorite trainer of all time," and my cousin Pasquale like physically like drug him to
pulled
me.
pulled an old
Yeah,
mustachioed Mexican guy,
yes. I think he thought he was getting
like
kidnapped.
kidnapped,
Yeah, by the
and then
mob.
he sees you
Right.
covered in tattoos, right,
Yes.
ready to yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'm afraid of you. And then he went on your social media and he's like, box cutter Pazzi. Ah,
No, that's afraid of me. He threatened to stab me and Billy every week.
who
Stab and kill
who does?
you.
I threaten to kill you both.
Yes. You
Yeah.
usually start with I'll stab you both and then I'll kill you both is how it goes down. Very
Well,
violent.
you two always team up against me, so I got to do what I
Not
got to
true.
do. It's like constantly getting jumped.
Nonsense.
Um,
I thought he had to put on a beautiful performance, highlight reel type shit.
yep,
That's what he did.
that's
Pazzi
what he did.
picks. I guess the question becomes, is what are you and I both thinking that maybe they want to feed him the winner of Thurman Uga?
Okay,
Is that
so
if you're
that's
matchmaking, play
that's
matchmaker
that's
here?
one option. The second option is Boots in the post fight. Did you watch the post fight?
I did.
Okay, he said Stanionis and Ortiz couldn't get it going. Um, I'll fight.
I'll fight him.
I'll fight Stanionis. I think they can make that fight. I think they should make that fight. I think Stanionis deserves that fight. I think Boots and Stanionis would be an absolutely entertaining affair.
Great matchup stylistically.
While it lasts, that's the fight. My fingers are crossed for that fight.
I'd love to see Boots beat the shit out of Thurman, but that's purely because I dislike somebody. That's not me coming from a place of
that
what
fight,
is best for the sport.
That fight would be so bad for Keith Thurman that I'd be worried for his health and safety. So for that reason, I don't want to see that fight. But for the reason you stated, I do want to see that fight.
I dislike him enough to go, okay, so you want let's get that signed.
I don't know why I don't like him so much. Is it because he's just painfully corny?
He's so corny, and like most corny people, not self-aware about it.
None.
You know, it's
zero. He had like the soccer style dork ponytail haircut.
Yes,
like shaved underneath.
Yes, the Euro soccer guy.
Right, from 1992.
And then when he cut it off, he didn't realize that his hairline had moved to the middle of his head.
Right, you got to shave it off at that point, bud. Like he cut his hair and I was like, he looks like he went from dork soccer guy in 1992 to like soccer referee currently. Right, like he looks like an old washed up like he looks like a ref. You know what I mean? Like he looked like a guy like hustling to get to the train so he's not late for his work at his. I mean, look, man, guys, he's a world-class fighter. Beat the shit out of So again, we're not saying that. It's the context. This is tongue in cheek, guys. Keith Thurman was a legit world champion. Boots, if he's not fully retired, Boots sends him into convalescence. I don't want to see that fight for that reason, but I do want to see the fight too, because
like I said, is what is best or better for the sport? Stanionis next, and then we keep talking about it, and we're gonna talk about it until after it's over, because we're gonna come back and do a Bud Spence episode.
Yeah. So
because it deserves it. But hold on, let me just finish, babe, real quick, and then I guess our issue that we keep bringing up, especially with these welters fighting, And look, we were hopeful about the Virgil Ortiz thing, but skeptical. Hopeful but skeptical. That fell apart. It's like, all right, so where does this really leave Boots, man? Because it's my opinion that so if we have um Boots, we have Crawford and Spence coming up. They're gonna
Yep.
fight twice. That's taking us into 2024. By that time, Bud's gonna be 36. The possibility of a trilogy there. If that's it, you be going into 2024, 2025, and a 36, 37-year-old Bud that's made what and
Who
10,
who
20
will no
million dollars.
longer be at 47?
Correct. Even if he's hanging around after that.
Right.
If he
So
decides to hang around, both of those guys are going to 54.
this isn't a secret, but I did get some inside info on Saturday. If Bud and Spence run it back, two things. One, this is their last fight at 47, both of them.
So if they run it back,
it's at 54. Right. If Spence beats Crawford, I'm just gonna say it.
All right,
I'm not gonna say who said it, but I'm just gonna say it.
Okay.
If Spence beats Crawford, I heard from a very good source, he gets Canelo at like 68, and then he'll go back down to rematch Crawford if he loses.
I heard rumblings of the Canelo thing and didn't think much of it.
This is like pretty good.
No,
again,
I'm
guys
not...
have to guys say shit. Like I've been around boxing insiders that like, this is definitely fucking blah 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 blah, and then the fighters go, I don't want this, it ain't good for me, management, blah 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 blah. But
no, I wasn't implying you were wrong. I'm just saying.
Oh no, I know. I didn't take
a guy that right now is a welter going to 68 within a fight is just a huge leap.
It's bonkers. It's bonkers. It's bonkers. I heard that it would probably be a catch weight at 65. But if they decide to run it back, it'll be at 54. The belts will be vacated.
And then it's wide open.
It's wide open. It'll be all fractured. Boots
it basically looks like, so what you're saying
in a fight or two,
way, right? In a roundabout way is after this fight, depending on how it goes down, all those belts, which will be unified, might be up for grabs again.
Might be up for grabs.
Because these guys go, okay, we're running it back in 4 to 6 months at 54 automatically. Right. Everything's wide open. Boots fights who? I don't know.
Spence, at that point. So the discussion the other night was that because Spence and Crawford came to terms and made this fight, if this does the pay-per-views and gets the eyes that the promoters think, they're not really going to need belts anymore, these two guys. They've now transcended boxing. There will be some belt that they'll
create one of
them. Right? But no one will really give a shit because the best is fighting the best.
Absolutely not. It's like when Marco Antonio Barrera was like, maybe number one in the world, had no belts.
Right.
I'm not paying for this sanctioned body. I got this one, but I don't care.
Right.
You can strip me of this one at like one point though.
Right. It doesn't matter.
He had nothing. And he was nothing. Like the man.
Yeah, and he's the man.
Like, I'm the man. But yeah, you're absolutely right. After this, we wanted a guy. Yo, this is the fucking guy. We had a 4-belt guy, 47. You're talking, Hearns. You're talking.
Right.
Hearns,
this is historic.
Historic,
but I think within 2 fights. So the next fight for Boots, the fight after that
might
will be for a world title of some sort.
I agree.
Or I agree. Who knows if I'm totally wrong, and I think Boots understands he's likely not going to get those two, which I think why he pivoted post-fight and said, I'll do the Thurman Ugas winner, or if Stanionis is available, I'd like to fight him before the end of the year.
I heard those guys are both getting 8 figures.
Who?
Bud and Spence.
I heard the same thing.
That's crazy, bro. So in what scenario are either one of them fighting Boots?
It's not.
It's not
a guy who's young, skilled, hungry, and makes 47 he weighed 145 pounds the other night.
Yep, for
And,
45 and a half. Yeah.
right. And looked comfortable doing so.
Yep.
We haven't heard about any scale fails. We haven't heard about any problems making weight. Usually that stuff is out of the bag relatively quick. No one's, we said this a year ago. No one wants it with this kid. He's too good to get the names that we all want to see him. So let's just get him in there with Stanionis next. That's what I want to see.
Yep.
I don't know if Keith Thurman would even agree to that fight. What would be the upside of Thurman? There's no belt. It's just it's not like it's not like it's going to be at some incredible venue, right?
I can't see it being an incredible payday.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I think likely we'll see PBC will try to lock down Stanionis for that fight. What's next for is Roiman Villa? Is he? I think that was a pretty brutal beating. I'd like to see him in there again.
He can fight, man. He can fight. I don't look if Boots is what we think. I forget people jumping on late bandwagon stuff like that. Okay, 20 minutes ago you're using the word Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm using the words Marvin Hagler.
Right.
If he's what we think he is, that loss isn't embarrassing. You can come back from it. The one
I just mean
loss
physically.
No, I know.
Yeah.
We don't know. He did him dirty.
Yeah, right.
He did him dirty. You know, you bring him back against, maybe a soft touch on an undercard and see how he does. Sometimes you come back after that and a hobo clips you and you're done.
Right. He's a Samson Lukowitz guy.
Yes.
So we'll probably see him again.
Yeah, who makes great fights. I mean,
right.
I don't look, I think Villa is like a real guy.
I agree.
We have to talk about next week because we keep forgetting this because the biggest fight in the last decade is coming, but Cool Boy Stefan Inoue is coming a couple of days before it.
Right.
So
on a Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning, yeah, for us
in Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, Steph's over there already, getting his body acclimated. I'm excited to talk about that fight, because when I had a lot of fun talking about Devin Haney, Lomachenko, in the buildup, and I think we're both going to have a lot of fun talking about Bud and Spence. I think like we knew. In other words, there's so many intangibles. Whereas we both predicted what we predicted, but we're like, Boots is gonna beat this kid.
Right.
He's good. He's a reputable guy. Good record, sturdy chin. Boots did him dirty. Another knock him out the box pick. If you guys are gambling degenerates and you listen to us, you made a lot of money in 50 episodes.
Yeah, 6.5 was the over, by the way.
Yes, I told my man, take the over.
Take the over, right.
But he's going to do him dirty in the 9th or 10th. I don't know if he took the round. I know he took the over.
Good stuff.
But, yeah. I think you're right, man. Can we make that Stanionis fight?
Stanionis fight. Got to make that fight. That's the fight. And he deserves it. And Boots deserves it.
Do you think they can make it, though, considering will they cross the street,
Yeah, I think for someone like let's be honest, Stanionis is barely a knock him out the box name.
No, you're right. You're right.
You know what I mean? Like, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll be a problem at all. Because they also have to get their fighter a fucking payday.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
So let's do that in like late September, man. It's October. No?
I forgot what Boots said. He either wants to get 1 or 2 in before the end of the year. So
I can look and do it in in September and December.
And that's it from Boardwalk Hall. I will say this. Shout out to the promoters and everybody that helped us out with the press stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate it. Guys were kind, nice, and it was a great time. It really was.
Boots is up next, B. That's the future.
Yes. That, guys, I hope everybody is taking this in, because oftentimes you don't get to see someone's
You don't.
rise. You kind of, people talk about them when they're already there. We've been fortunate enough with a guy like Boots, and before him, a guy who's fighting on the 29th, Terrence Crawford. You got to see him fight and ascend. Although Terrence Crawford's like first real big fight was Ricky Burns for a title, but this Showtime, for all of our criticism, and PBC for our criticism, they've been putting Boots on TV for a couple of years now, so we've gotten to see him fight.
No, credit when it's due. A place like Showbox, we
Yeah,
watched a lot of guys come up through there.
right. This is you guys are watching someone special.
Absolutely. I'm glad, the fact that it was, bro, first time I saw him fight in person was at the ECW arena, 2016. And I could see some,
Yeah.
Obviously you hear rumblings when the kid's in the amateurs, there's this kid, there's this kid, there's this kid. But to see him live in a venue like that, where you're getting hit by sweat, those types of venues,
Yeah.
It's like the Elks Lodge in Queens in New York. It's
yeah.
right there.
You're right there. Yep. You're right on top. Yep.